Okay, so I'm out here trying to decide what tractor I want to bring to get running. So you probably already know it already from the title of the video, but it's between this orange 69 Suburban 12, this 18.6, or this Suburban 15. The Suburban 15 doesn't have compression, so I've got to mess around with that. I don't really feel like doing that. This 18.6, the engine spins over, stops, like it's got something in the cylinders or rusty or something. I don't really want to mess with that either. So I'm kind of thinking I'm deciding on the 69 Suburban 12 here, which just means I got to move some stuff out of the way and get the forklift over there in here and drag it out of here. Alright, so got it inside. I hosed it off because there's a lot of spiders in that shed, and clean it up a little bit. But this is the first time opening the hood in a while. So looks like we got a free bungee cord here. Somebody probably had that to hold the battery down at one point. So that's neat. Looks like it might have been a replacement engine from this extra sticker, which is pretty common for these. Piece of paper towel shoved in the engine, or where the carburetor mounts. I can't get that off with one hand, but there's no ignition coil, no nothing under there. I believe when I got this, I hooked a battery to it and I hit the key and the storage generator spun. So that's kind of cool that works. Gas tank is, you probably won't be able to see in there, but that, from what I'm seeing, looks pretty clean. So that's cool. I'll probably end up cutting this piece, the gauge part off of this cap and then gluing this and just use it as a cap. Battery cables look halfway decent, so that's cool. Still got my flag, meaning that it's mine, on there. Hood latch is nice on the dash, which is cool. Missing the grill corner, has this piece. I have this side cover made for it. Otherwise, it definitely needs a pressure wash. But that'll be later once I get it running. So what I'm going to do is I have some coils down here, which I'm going to convert it to the newer style silver coil, which is what all of these are. So I'm going to do some experimenting with this stuff on there, and so I don't bore everybody with doing stuff and it doesn't work. So I'll come back and I'll show you the progress once I actually get something working. Alright, so I did some cobbling together here. So basically I had to take this off because this is the original one that was on there for the original style ignition. Because these old starter generator engines, there's quite a bit of stuff that's actually different on them. But this part here, on the one that's on there, which I'll show you in a minute, has two spots sticking out of it for some screws, along with a little rest for that middle part I was showing you. So I swapped this out. That's the whole, that part under the flywheel and this coil is off a OH160. And, well, it actually works, which is kind of a surprise. So I'll zoom into the spark plug for you so you can see the spark. Dang it, drill slipped. Well, you probably saw it's really shaky trying to do it in one hand, but probably saw a little bit of spark there. It does seem like I gotta have it spinning quite fast for it to actually spark, but I don't know. Okay, so I made a bunch of progress on it. I got flywheel shroud put back on. I've got these 3 bolts in there, which was kind of a dilemma because the one bolt I put in there, actually 2 out of the 3, decided to break. So luckily I have these bolt extractors, and I was able to get it out. And then I had to re-drill the one hole. The bolts, that one fit right in. Then these 2 here, if I went in any deeper, I would worried I'd break them. So I just stuck some washers on there, and that seems to work. Something I have noticed though is that this belt is not perfectly straight. So I think what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take this pulley off and put like some washers behind it and then put the nut back on. Because I'm thinking this flywheel is taller than the one that it's supposed to have. I also did a bunch of work to the wiring, so I took the battery tray out. I mounted the regulator right here, the new regulator I'm using from an ST16. The blue wire here, or the bluish green, is the coil shut off, which goes to the key switch. I've got a fuse, which is for the lights and the charging system. And believe it or not, the lights actually work. So that was pretty cool. I had to add another ground wire from here to here because this side here wasn't getting a ground for some reason. So I just linked the 2 together and said good enough. The rear light is intact. It looks really nice and it works. So that's cool. And something else here I thought was neat is I'll spin you around. But that's a Sears drive belt. Since it says Sears and Craftsman on it, I'm guessing it was replaced sometime in the 80s, would be my guess. And there's even a part number. So if I can get that. That's the part number. That was neat. If it was the original belt, it would actually say Roper Outdoor Products on it. So that would have been a Sears replacement. I have like 2 or 3 starter generator belts that are original that I just kept because it was neat to say Roper on them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the battery tray back on. I'm going to take off this stupid engine support bracket right here because these are totally pointless. Just to make it easier to put on. I vacuumed out the crud that always accumulates back there. Since light switch was missing, I just replaced it with another one I had. The whole electrical system works except for the battery light because it doesn't have anything to hook to, and I tested it. I hooked voltage to it and it never lit up, so that probably don't work. I couldn't figure out how to get the bulb out, but anyway, I'm going to get some more of stuff here put back together, and I'll come back and I'll show you the progress and hopefully have it about running. Okay, so I got the battery tray and everything put back in. I got the gas tank put on, as you see up there. I got a new spark plug put on it because the old one just wasn't really working. So the one that's on it, I checked the spark. It seems like it works really good. So I'm going to take this glove off. Oh my. Well, that was easy. Oh, come on. Then we got some sparks. Whoa! Well, that was easy. It's a high idle is all it's really willing to do. So remember this carburetor, it's not the greatest carburetor. I tried cleaning it several times and this carburetor ain't the greatest. I do have a few others I can try. I'm gonna have to say that was a success. The smoke coming, since it's still coming out of the exhaust and it's shut off, I'm guessing that's probably just oil and debris from being parked for who knows how many years. I guess it's still recording. But yeah, that's cool. It started right up. So I think the next thing to do is to put a pulley right here so I can actually drive it and figure out something for a tie rod. I think what I'm going to just do is I'm going to just go ahead and buy a new carburetor because they're like 15, 16 bucks on eBay for a new carburetor for these now. Something new they must have came up with recently. And I need to find an air filter box because this was missing. I was missing the whole carburetor and everything. I really thought I had another shroud here that is original paint, but I couldn't find it, so I don't know what I did with it. But yeah, I'll come back once as I get this done from pressure washing it, and we'll see what it's like then. Alright, so you just saw me cleaning this up in a time lapse. I also got this back fender. For the most part, I got the bend out of it, which it's still a little wavy, but I wasn't going to take it off, so it's good enough for now. The front of the hood, this side here was really badly bent. It's a lot straighter than it was. It's still not perfect, but it is what it is without taking the hood off and really giving her with the hammer and stuff. But I wasn't going to do that on this one, so good enough for now. You can see I got the starter generator cover that matches the tractor. I just walked out back and I found it laying on the ground, so that was pretty funny. So it must have fell off of this when I was carrying it over, and I didn't realize it was sitting on here. But so I'm going to adjust the carburetor situation. So we got a new carburetor. This was like 16 bucks off eBay, brand spanking new. It's made in China one, so I'm not expecting it to be the highest quality. In fact, it weighs almost nothing. It came with this bent up gasket, which is kind of funny, but I'll use it. I found this air filter off of a parts engine I had. I got a battery, some tools to put it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the new carburetor on here, and I'm going to wait to start it until the camera's on. So this is me starting it. All right, I got the carburetor put on. I had to switch out the stud that sticks out on this side with the nut that normally goes on it for a bolt with like a Allen key head, because the nut wouldn't fit on there. So apparently the side of the carburetor here, like right at the tip of my finger, is a little bit wider than the original. So I guess it doesn't quite fit. So that's just something to keep in mind. You just got to switch that side out. I probably should have did this side as well, just to make them both the same, but oh well. So I'm going to turn this gas on, which it's never been turned on before. Got a battery hooked up. I'm going to get this door open as if it's actually going to start and work, and go for a ride. So looks like gas is flowing to the carburetor. Some of these have fuel pumps on them, some of them don't. But we're just going to go with not having one, because that one right there, which is literally pretty much the exact same thing, doesn't have one, and that's fine. So let's see what happens. So give it some throttle. Choke. Well, choke's still hard to pull. That started easy. It is a little lean. First drive. It even idles. It's a little low, but it idles. Wow. I'm impressed. So out of the, I think 8 Tecumsehs I have, this is by far the best running. So, and you watched me put gas in the carburetor for the first time, and I'm impressed on how, I mean, not so much the carburetor, but like the rest of the engine, it's in nice shape. There was no smoke. I don't think there's even smoke before from me starting it, so that's very cool. There is slight little like smoke coming up, which appears to be the outside of the muffler, so it's probably just oil residue and who knows what caked in it from sitting for who knows how long. But yeah, that is it for this video. I'm gonna put on the end here some pictures of this just because, and yeah, on getting the next one cleaned up and running.